online haircut.
What's up, guys? It's Avenues Podcast back with episode 173. Cheyenne's not behind the lens today, because the guy barely touches the camera anyways. So we were saying before, like, you know,
he can stay at home.
Yeah,
Save
he
some
can.
time.
He can take a break today, and we can figure it out ourselves.
What do you think he's doing right now?
Cheyenne, honestly, dude, probably like
Got
playing.
his feet up, playing FIFA.
yeah. I was gonna say playing FIFA, but then he told me like last week he's trying to like not play video games and shit as much. So maybe he's like reading or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Who knows with Cheyenne? The guy's like I don't know, unpredictable. So all right, I guess we'll go into topics then.
Sure. Start off small. Christine Sinclair retired today from football in general, not just international football, but club as well. She is the highest scoring international player in the whole world, ever, men and women. She has won several medals, several Canadian Player of the Year awards, MVP. She's just easily the GOAT when it comes to Canadian soccer. Like, regardless, guy, girl, she is the GOAT of Canadian soccer. Although I don't agree with her recent acts of, I don't know what you'd call it, like recent, I don't know, just like her opinions, and like I don't agree with like a lot of the movement. Yeah, the movement with what she's doing right now on in the world. But despite that, I have to give respect where credit is due. Like, she is the greatest Canadian player of all time, I gotta say. And she's a very nice person, it seems like, to a lot of people, a lot of fans. Very nice to like young girls especially. And everyone's just happy it happened. I've not really seen anything like sad about it. Everyone's just like online saying like, congrats, good job, oh my god, what a player, which is a good thing. I don't think they're not focused on the sadness of it, which is good. She's been around in Canada soccer since 2000. 23 years is not very common to be in especially a national team as well. I don't know how many caps she has, but it's a lot. So sad to see her go, but happy it happened, and let's enjoy retirement, Christine Sinclair.
Yeah, like a great career for sure. I'm just reading this article here. It says Sinclair, the world's all-time leading scorer with 190 goals from 327 senior appearances, is expected to play 4 more games for the 10th-ranked Canada, starting with 2 friendlies later this month against Brazil in Montreal on October 28th and Halifax on October 31st, which is Halloween. So, yeah, overall, incredible career. Really cool to watch her play, and wish the best for her. So
did you see Connor Bedard's like stuff on social media?
Yeah, I did. So yeah, Connor Bedard has been playing. He scored his first
He's playing so well.
Yeah, he scored his first career goal. Me and my friends were talking about it, like, so there's this whole thing in the NHL, they bring it up like every year, like, the marketability of players isn't that good, and like you see guys like the NBA and the NFL, and there's like these real like personalities there, and everyone complains that hockey's kind of like all these guys are like robots, right? Like, they don't really say much, they don't have much like to express other than like hockey and like their families.
That's the league's fault, I gotta say.
And then it doesn't help that they're wearing like helmets and stuff all the time. You can't really see their faces that much. There's not much like player recognition, I guess, other than like them when they're playing. So it's kind of hard to like market that aspect of it. But now you see, the likes of Connor Bedard, and I feel like the league is sort of shifting over and highlighting this like amazing player. And then you see Sportsnet pick up on it. You see all these different Instagram things, like, and it's filled Connor Bedard, right? And all the comments are like, oh, this is top tier glazing. Oh, this is that. Like, they're going crazy. Oh, it's like, and I mean, to be fair, there's been some like,
there's been a lot of that.
Like there was one, this is my friend sent me, and it was crazy. Like, he had this dangle, and he
against Detroit.
I think so.
But
he went through like 3 people. This is preseason, and he dangles 3 people and like kind of like gets a tuck, but it doesn't like he doesn't get it in.
Yeah, that's a crazy play though.
Gets a shot on net, and it gets like on one of these accounts is like play of the month on like October 1st, and I was like, okay, a little much, right? Like he's a great player, but like you gotta tone it down a little bit.
Yeah,
so,
I get that.
But I don't know. This is kind of like a huge debate. It's like so. People, you have two camps, right? Like the people saying, oh, NHL needs to be like more marketable, and then yet when the NHL tries to market a player and like really like
they get clowned,
try to like bring in this new audience and like with this new like rising core, then you see them, all these people get mad, oh, they're glazing, oh, Connor Bedard, blah, 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 like give him a break, the guy just came in the league. So like I don't know, where do you stand
I
on
mean, I wonder how he feels. It might be a bit overwhelming. I know he loves it, and he's like very like I've seen him talk on camera when it comes to this stuff, and he's very natural. Like he just talks with like he doesn't sound nervous, he doesn't sound hyped. He just sounds super relaxed. With I'm assuming he's been media trained because it makes sense, and he's handling things really well from the looks of it. I mean, someone had a Montreal Canadiens jersey on, and they're like, "Can you sign my back?" He's like, nah, I can't sign a Habs jersey. I'm sorry. And it's just he's getting into like some comedy as well with like some other players in the league, which I saw, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, he's not the whole reason to like. He's not the whole league. He's not the face of the league. Honestly, I don't believe that as of right now. Yeah, but in general, no, he's definitely not. So I don't think that the league should be focusing on him as much, honestly. And I just think like the owners of the NHL, or they're like older dudes, I think. I could be wrong. I think they're like older dudes, and they're not they're more traditionalist compared to all these other leagues. You look at UFC, they're doing collabs with Prime, with YouTubers like Nelk, with the whole Full Send collab. You look at MLS with Body Armor collabing with Kobe Bryant, and then you see, I'm trying to think of other leagues that are doing, like for example, I know NHL said we don't want anything to do with the Nelk boys because of what they represent, what they do, and Dana White's like, these old fucks at the NHL, because they're not making decisions that are based on modern trends, like social media is the biggest example. Their numbers are not even nearly as big as the UFC, because we've done stuff with Prime, with Full Send. He's like, Dana White's a smart businessman. He's like him or not, like he's very smart, and he's saying, like he's smart when it comes to business, and he was saying, like, I've done all these collabs, these small little gestures that make a big difference, and my numbers, you can look it up, the UFC numbers are so much bigger than the NHL's because they've done stuff that is popular at the time. They have a legal department, they do this stuff all the time, and so they do these collabs because it's modern, it's hip, it's what's happening right now. The NHL, we want nothing to do with the Nelk boys. The Nelk boys have been watching the NHL since they were little kids. They're huge Maple Leaf supporters. They're good friends with Austin Matthews and some other players from the Leafs. So the fact that the NHL people are like, no, we don't want to do, they don't do much for social media, like in the NHL wise. They don't get traction when it comes to like their Instagram and all this stuff compared to UFC, compared to MLS, compared to the PGA, like even like small shit like Tiger Woods, because what the PGA do is they bring in Tiger Woods' kid, and then that gets a bunch of views, like small shit like that. NHL, they're very traditionalist, like they don't really, like, I don't know if you've noticed that, but they don't like outstretch themselves. I feel like they could be. And yeah, with Bedard, I feel like they're just taking the wrong step with it. I think that's why they're getting clowned, is because it's like they're just doing it the wrong way. That's simply all. I think even like be considerate to the guy that just came into the league. He's like young as shit. Was he 19?
Yeah, he's 18. He's 18.
Yeah, exactly. That's young as fuck. Like these guys, like he's not so many emotions going through his head. I mean, I get to play for Chicago, like, you know, stuff like that. Like give him a break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
I agree with your point completely on the traditional aspect. Like, you see the NHL, like, the guys still have to show up in suits every game, right? Where you see, like, NBA, you see, like, Russell Westbrook wearing some, like, crazy fit.
The Yeezy foam runners.
Right? Or you see guys in, like, I don't know what. Then, here's the tunnel fit. Here's LeBron James in this, wearing this shoe, spotted this. And the tunnel fits go more, like, viral than like NHL's clips, right?
Or Antetokounmpo going to an Inter Miami game and shooting penalties, and then the MLS posts that.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
exactly. And I feel like with the NHL, because they're more traditionalist, again, they can't really like appeal to the younger generation, except for like people that know the league, have watched the league, right?
That have
Like
been around.
it's hard to like draw people in, like
Yeah,
especially if
totally.
you don't watch hockey, because there's nothing to like.
Go
if you don't
for.
care about hockey, like why would you watch the NHL,
Yeah.
right? But imagine like all these other sports, you don't have to give a shit about fighting. Oh, this guy from this other sport I like is coming and watching the
Mhm.
games and like engaging with the organization. Like
Ted
maybe I should give it a
Lasso.
try.
Ted Lasso watched a bunch of LAFC games. Ted Lasso and the assistant coach in the movie or the show went to LAFC versus the Whitecaps at
Mhm.
BMO Field last season, bringing TV show characters into. Like I
Yeah.
remember the commentators were like, maybe Ted Lasso is gonna come and give a quick word at halftime to these players that are down 1-0 or whatever. So
Yeah. Like you see like Will Ferrell's like a really
Yeah.
big NHL guy. He supports the Kings and like you
Yeah.
see him at like every game and like it's cool to see like him supporting the league, but I feel like if the NHL wants to like get more like market share or like I don't know, just expand, they need to do it in like a more simple way because I feel like from going to like your traditional league, you dress up before every game, the press conferences are like super I guess like I don't know how you say it, just like super structured. You got the guys asking questions. There's no crazy shit happening. The players are pretty calm. They pretty much play hockey. They do their press conference every once in a while, and then they just play, right? But then like you can't go from that to like you get this new guy in the league, and then you just start going from like zero to hero, right? This guy now you're trying to like market this new player, and like now all of a sudden you give a shit about like marketing your players. Like I feel like now like the actual fans of the NHL and people who watch the league all the time are like noticing that and calling it out. That's why so many people are saying, "Oh, there's like so much glazing going on," because there's like the approach has just been from like nothing to like everything all at once, right? So I feel like they should have taken a more balanced approach and start small, right? And then you keep building up, but I don't know.
depending on how he's doing as well.
Exactly,
Let's
right?
say he played like shit. I bet they'd still be doing all this crazy shit
And
with him.
posting his clips everywhere. And then there's like all these people saying like, oh, like there was a thing. This is crazy. There was an ad, and they were basically saying it's like the NHL. It's the new golden era of hockey, right? And then they show Bedard getting drafted, and next to Bedard's draft, I'm pretty sure it was like Gretzky or something, like putting his jersey on, getting drafted. I'm like, dude, this kid has just entered the league. Like,
That's
give
so
him a break.
stupid. Yeah.
And all these people are projecting, like, oh,
he
he's
could
gonna
be
get
a shit player for all we know.
they're like, oh, he's going to get over 50 goals this season already, but as a rookie, blah, blah, blah. Like, give him a break, man. Also, like, the expectations this kid has are, like, insane. Like, he could be, like, a bust. Imagine if Bedard's a bust. Like, you know how screwed the league would be after promoting this kid so hard? Like,
He hasn't shown anything to me, and I think to the fans of the NHL, that he's at Crosby's level. To even talk about him being
Mhm.
at Crosby's level or being or going to be at that level, you can't predict that. You can't sit here and say he's going to be the next McDavid or the next whoever. So I just think it's like dumb. Like don't, you have nothing to go off of, really. He has never played in the NHL before. Why are
Yeah.
you saying he's going to be doing all this shit? He's going up against guys that are in their 30s, 20s. Like, he's 18.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, like, it's
I'm not
one thing.
discrediting him either. Like, I'm
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But like going against his stuff on like the Pats where he's scoring like all these like amazing goals, right? And it's incredible to see. But again, it's just different competition. The NHL is not the same league, so it's just it'll be interesting to see how he plays. I've watched some of his games. I saw his goal. The wraparound is pretty nice. I mean, he's a good player for sure. But I feel like right now it's a little too early to say. Like you gotta tone it down a little bit on the Bedard glazing. But yeah, I mean, you do have a great player there, and I think that you should market him, right? But just don't do it to a overkill because even now your fans are starting to question, okay, like what are they really in here for? So I don't know. I'd just say if I was NHL commissioner, I would just tone it down a little bit on the Bedard glazing. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. Should we go into our next topic?
Sure.
All right, so Colin wanted to talk about the Israel and Hamas war. Briefly, like before we speak about it, I'm gonna say like I don't really want to speak to it because I feel like I'm not really educated enough to like form my own opinion on it. So I don't really want to go off someone else's opinions without doing my due diligence first. So I'll add to Colin's point and maybe throw in my opinion here and there, but I'm not going to give up my full blown opinion because I feel like I'm not educated enough right now to speak on it. So with that being said, we'll give it a Colin here to tell us his opinion on it.
All right. So there's nothing you could say to this subject matter that will get you all smiles and rainbows and everyone happy.
Yeah.
But that comes with anything controversial. But right now it's more prevalent. So what I'm not going to sit here very, very long and talk about this because this is very short and sweet for me. So, I started to wonder and like question what this conflict was about a year ago when things were coming to light on social media about this. Now that it's a war, I really started to care because when there's a war in the world, it affects you whether you like it or not. Because even if you're not in the country, even if you're not a part of the war when it comes to geography wise, you are still living on this planet. You still have to face the consequences of other people's actions, and this war could potentially affect you. I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying it could. Look at World War II, World War I. So, anyway, it's sad that we still have war today, but that's human nature. You can't make everyone all happy, and everyone can go about everyone's way. Obviously, more opinions are more normal than others, and everyone's different. You can't make everyone the same. And that's a beauty of life because you don't want to have all these robots around. But there are negatives to it because you have a bunch of people that are doing stuff that are outrageous and just not nice. Look at historical figures like, I don't know, Hitler or someone that doesn't fit in with society's norms that is doing horrible stuff. There's always going to be that one person that doesn't like what everyone's thinking and is always doing something bad. So I've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of thinking and a lot of discussion to lead up to this episode because I want to make sure my opinion is valid and I want to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. So it's a very complicated subject. Doesn't matter who you are. I know a lot of like bigoted people or a lot of people that are very close-minded will hear me say that and think, no, Israel is the only reason why this is happening, or no, Palestine's the only reason. And I'm not talking to those people specifically because those people, there's no point in talking to those people that are close-minded about this subject. The situation is very complicated. If you look at the other war that's happening right now with Russia and Ukraine, pretty simple. Russia wants their land back. It was disputed from them, and Ukraine has it now. They want it back. They are taking it forcefully. I'm not going to get that. They're taking it by force, which is uncivilized and wrong. I haven't heard a single person side with Russia. Oh, it's right there. I thought it was over here. This is a lot more complicated because it's a dispute of land that was simply not just thrown away like Ukraine was just, okay, here's Ukraine. It wasn't that simple, and it was given on a very the land of the Jews was given off of a very interesting circumstance based off of the results of World War II. So from my understanding, Israel, they feel like they're entitled to the land of Palestine because they go back to the Bible or like prehistoric era or whatever, not prehistoric era, old times where they think they have the right to the land of Palestine, and they have some evidence or they have some proof or whatever. They think it's okay. Here's, I want this land. This is supposed to be mine. And then Palestine's like, no, this is ours. It's just an argument that has resulted into war. Enough beating around the bush. Well, not really, but to get to the point, I'm not sided with this war. Both countries are at fault. Israel shouldn't be bombing Palestine because they don't get their way, and they shouldn't be killing people based off of they just didn't get their way. Palestine, same thing. You shouldn't be bombing hospitals and killing innocent people because you want to resolve a conflict. War has rules, if you like it or not. They do have rules. And for you to bomb a hospital, to kill innocent people, women, children, you name it, is against the rules of war. So Hamas, the terrorist organization, is not very civilized, to say the least. This whole war started. Israel declared war on Palestine. This whole thing started because when Hamas invaded Israel, they kidnapped a bunch of people, right? Obviously, this is well known. They kidnapped a bunch of people, and they had them as hostages, and they just wrecked this music festival, and they ended up killing a lot of these hostages. And 3 of which were kidnapped were Canadian. One guy from Montreal died, and he went to the music festival to visit on vacation, and he was killed as a result of this conflict between the 2 countries. So, automatically, it is affecting other countries as a result of this. So, because these 2 countries are having this problem, they decide we have to start with I guess Israel started. We have to go and turn to violence as our answer, which shouldn't be the answer to anything. You shouldn't have to turn to your weapons of mass destruction as a result of your childish endeavors. So, Hamas shouldn't be killing innocent people of Israel. Israel shouldn't be bombing Palestine and killing the innocent people of Palestine. Both countries, in my opinion, are at fault. And I've talked to many people of the subject because, as you know, I have a podcast. I like learning about things of the world. So I talk to many people about this. And I ask, like, oh, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I've heard so many different opinions, and it's wonderful because I love hearing from everybody, and I love hearing every perspective of life and perspective on this matter in specific. And some people I've talked to are sided with these people. Oh, I'm sided with Israel. Oh, I'm sided with Palestine. And all these people that are saying they're sided are not of any descent of Jewish, Israel, Palestine, or whatever. They, like, some of them are, but they're not the ones I've talked to. That's what I'm referring to. They've picked a side, and I'm like, why would you pick a side? Both sides are doing wrong things with the world. Why would you choose a side? Like, if you're Israeli, if you're Palestinian, I understand why you would be on that side. Respect to you, because you're just holding up your country and holding up your nationality. So respect. Like, that's I understand that, and that makes sense to me. But someone that was born and raised in Canada and has no connections between those countries, why would you pick a side over something that you don't have to do with and at all? And not just that, but it's like, to me, it's so clear that both sides are in the wrong. So I don't have a side. For those wondering, I don't have a side. Both countries are in the wrong. I've explained why. And I've seen so many people come out online saying, I stand with Israel. Oh, you can't, like, and all this conflict with that. Same thing with Palestine. I stand with Palestine. Oh, you support Hamas, you support terrorists, like all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, I'm just watching this like, this is unbelievable. Like, I don't know why anyone would be choosing sides if you're not Jewish, Israeli, or from Palestine or Palestinian. So that's my opinion on it. I wouldn't say it's controversial of an opinion for me. I cannot be here giving I can't pick a side because I don't really have a right to. And not only do I not have a right, but at the same time, it's like, why would I pick a side? They're both doing horrible things to this planet, and it's just I hate it. I hate how we're still in war. I hate how people just can't decide. Put their just like, why can't they be civilized and discuss, okay, well, here's something we can do. No, Israel's got to bomb Palestine, and Palestine's got to kill all these innocent people and bomb hospitals and blame it on the Israelis, which is fucking ridiculous. The list goes on. I can talk about this more stuff, but like I said, I wanted to keep it brief because it is brief. If I went on any more, it'd just be like me reiterating myself, and it's like, okay, there's no point.
Yeah, to add to your point, like, there's this, we were talking about this before we were filming, but there's this clip of Trump, and this is for the Russia and Ukraine war, and basically, obviously, like, there's been, like, some connections with Trump and Putin and all that stuff, and you can see the reporter was definitely trying to, like, push Trump to, like, pick a side in the war, and they basically were asking him, like, who do you support, Russia or Ukraine, and he said, bottom line is, like, I want people to stop dying.
Also, to like add on this, Canada and the U.S., they both have diplomatic relationships with Israel. So they automatically back up Israel. Canada's been online saying, I stand with Israel, when I think that's horrible. I think I talked to Justin about this. I use this reference. It's like, if I had a brother or if I had a friend that was doing something inhumane, like robbing people's houses, stealing, killing, whatever, and someone asked me, that's your brother, like, do you stand with them? I'd be like, no, they're doing wrong things. Just because they're my brother, just because they're my friend, doesn't mean I have to stand with them on this. So for Canada to say, I stand with Israel, I think it's horrible. I don't think it's a good thing. And again, this isn't specifically about Israel. This is just because both sides are in the wrong, in my opinion. So somebody that's pro-Israel would be like, yeah, Canada, great job. Yeah, we love you. But, I'm looking at it from a neutral perspective. So I don't think Canada should be doing that. I don't think it's right to be saying that. And then I saw Justin as well with U.S. Biden tweeted saying, as Americans, we stand with Israel. Or like, I'm American, I stand with, something along those lines. Or like, we stand with Israel. And then people are replying on the tweet saying, like, bitch, you can't even stand. And it's the photo of him tripping over the stairs on the airplane. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, so it's pretty funny. And I like how there's adding some humor to it, so that's pretty relieving. But yeah, I think that's wrong. I don't think they should be doing that, but I mean, hey, it's also like individuals as well. They're making the decision to say that, not based off of what the country thinks. So think of it that way. That's my opinion on it. Wouldn't really say it's a controversial opinion. Wouldn't really say it's a special opinion. I think it's, I don't know, pretty safe to say.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll get flamed if I were to say, yeah, I stand with Israel. Oh, yeah, I stand with Palestine. I think in this way it's like, and I'm not just saying that either. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that because I don't want the conflict. I will get conflict. I know people watching this being like, yo, how could you say that? And like, it's so obvious Israel's in the wrong. It's so obvious Palestine is the wrong. Okay, that's great. Like, you can think whatever you want, but yeah, that's not me. You can't give an opinion without any hate, especially with this. So
yeah. I mean, I guess we don't really have any other topics. I guess do you want to close it out here?
Next week, Halloween special. Stay tuned. It's gonna be a fun one. My favorite episode of the year.
Yeah, the camera we got like 5 seconds to close out here. So thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.